So in this video, we're going to do a review of FOILing or distribution. And that's when you multiply a binomial times a binomial. And we're reviewing this because we're going to need this skill when we do our next section, which is 10.7. So when I FOIL or distribute, I take the first term, multiply it by the first term in the second parentheses, and I get x times x is x squared. And then I take x times the second term, and x times negative 3 is negative 3x. I then get 6 times x is 6x, and 6 times negative 3 is negative 18. I then combine my like terms, and my answer is x squared plus 3x minus 18. And that is how I take two binomials and turn it into a trinomial. I can also have two binomials that are written this way. When you have x plus 3 parentheses to the second power, that gets rewritten as x plus 3 times x plus 3 because there are two terms. Once I separate it out, I proceed to FOIL. X times x is x squared. X times 3 is 3x. 3 times x is 3x, and 3 times 3 is 9. So my answer is x squared plus 6x plus 9. And that is how I FOIL or distribute. The opposite of FOILing and distribution is factoring quadratics. And when we factor quadratics, we take our final answer, which is this trinomial, and we turn it into two binomials. So again, this is a review of how to do this. When I am factoring a quadratic, I'm going to turn it into two binomials. If the last term is a plus sign, that means that both of my parentheses will have whatever this term is here. So since this is a plus, my parentheses will both be addition. My x squared gets broken up into x and x. And now I have to think of the factors of 6 that when I add them, give me 7. The factors of 6 are 6 and 1 and 2 and 3. Well, 6 plus 1 is 7. So therefore my factors are 6 and 1. And I know this is correct because if I check it by FOILing or distributing, I get x squared plus 6x plus x plus 6, which gives me x squared plus 7x plus 6. So I can check it that way. Now I'm going to look here and I'm going to factor again. I make my parentheses. I break up my x. I look here, this is a plus sign, so that means my parentheses will have the same sign. They will both be a minus sign. And I think to myself, what are the factors of 12 that when I add them give me 8? Well, the factors of 12 that I can think of are 3 plus 4, and that's 7, so that doesn't work. 6 plus 2 gives me 8. So therefore my factors are going to be 6 and 2. And my trinomial gets factored into my binomial. If I want to then know what x is, I would add it equal to 0. And I get x minus 6 is equal to 0. X minus 2 is equal to 0. I add 6 to both sides, and I get x can be either 6 or x can be 2. This is a review of a concept that we will need for 10.7. Again, if I look at this example, I make my parentheses. I separate my x, and I say, oh, this last term is negative. That means one parenthesis is plus, and one parenthesis is minus. I say to myself, what are the factors of 24 that when I subtract them, give me 5? Well, I'm going to do it over here so I have more space. If I have 12 minus 2, that gives me 10. Well, that isn't 5. So I'm going to say 8 minus 3. Well, 8 minus 3 gives me 5. Now comes the question, where does the 8 go and where does the 5 go? Because 5 is negative, the bigger number, which is the 8, goes in front of the negative, and the smaller number goes with the positive, because negative 8 plus 3 is negative 5. In order for this to be negative 5, 8 has to be negative. Now when I separate it to find what x is going to be negative 3, and x is going to be positive 8. For right now, for the review, either of these answers are acceptable. The last one that I'm going to factor, I separate out my x's. The last term is negative. That means that I have one positive sign, one negative sign, one plus, one minus. And I have to say to myself, what are the factors of 100 that when I subtract them are 15? Well, if I have 15 minus 2, that does not give me 15. If I have 25 and 4, that gives me 21, so I get closer. So now I'm going to try 20 and 5. Well, 20 minus 5 gives me 15. Again, I have to look and decide where does the 20 go and where does the 5 go. This is positive, so the 20 goes with the positive, and the 5 goes with the negative. X is going to be equal to negative 20 and positive 5.